As a younger man, Auron was a devout monk warrior. However, one day he would be enlisted by Lord Braska to serve as a guardian on his upcoming pilgrimage to defeat a threat known as Sin. But before departing, Braska would also enlist the Blitzball star Jet. Arriving in the ruins of Zanarkand, the three would be debriefed by Yunalesca, who bestowed the final Aeon to those who completed the pilgrimage. Despite his protests, Jet would sacrifice himself as the Aeon, who would also request Auron to look after his son Titus. But both Braska and Jet would be defeated. Afterwards, Auron would confront Yunalesca, outraged at Braska and Jet's sacrifices. But Auron would be mortally wounded, where he would make his way down the mountain, where he would run into the recently disgraced Kamari, who would also request the Ronso warrior to protect Braska's daughter, Yuna. Auron would reach the outskirts of Bavel, where he would succumb to his injury, but would become an unset spirit. Over the years, Auron would watch over Titus, but 10 years later, during a Blitzball tournament, Sin would attack, and using a portal within Sin's body, Auron would transport he and Titus 1,000 years into the future. Later, meeting up with Titus on the island of Luca, he and Titus would become Yuna's guardians, where they would travel to the ruins of Zanarkand, where they would do battle with Jet, and after a long drawn-out fight, Auron would be sent to the far plane after defeating Sin, where he would reunite with his friends. Cloud Strife was born in mountain village of Nibelheim. His father died when he was very young, leaving him in the care of his mother, Claudia, who was also neighbors with Tifa Lockhart, but Cloud would become bitter and would develop a superiority complex, believing that he was mature and different. However, one day when Tifa was with her friends, she would fall off a bridge despite Cloud's attempt to save her. However, the two would fall where Tifa be left in a comatose state. As a result, both Cloud and Tifa's father would blame himself for failing to save her. In order to bear himself, Cloud would call Tifa out to the water tower, hoping to impress her, where he would tell her that he would be leaving to join Soldier, but also promising to save her should she ever find herself in trouble. However, Cloud would fail to enlist into Soldier, only serving as a mere Shinra infantryman. During this, Cloud would also become friends with first-class soldier Zack Fair. During a mission in Nibelheim, Sephiroth would go on a rampage, fueled by his newfound hatred for humanity. Using Zack's Buster Sword, Cloud would impale Sephiroth through the back. However, Sephiroth would easily overpower and impale the infantryman, but Cloud would use what remaining strength he had left to toss Sephiroth into the Mako Reactor. After 4 years, Zack would rescue Cloud. However, due to Mako poisoning, Cloud would be left in a vegetative state, where Zack would carry him to outside Midgard, but the two would be ambushed by Shinra forces, where Zack would fight for as long as he could, but would be worn down. Once Cloud woke up for Zack's final moments, he would pass on his Buster Sword onto Cloud as his living legacy. Afterwards, Tifa would recruit Cloud into the mercenary group known as Avalanche, but during a bomb mission in a Sector 5 reactor, the team would be confronted by the President Shinra, where Cloud would fall into his Sector 5 slums. Meeting Aerith, he would travel to the Temple of the Ancients, where Sephiroth would manipulate Cloud to give him the Black Materia, where he would kill Aerith and would enter the depths of the planet to transform into Safer Mode. Cloud and his party would do battle with Sephiroth, where Cloud would banish Sephiroth's spirit into a live stream, where he could do no more harm. Well, what's up, Winter, for my season finale, and yet another Final Fantasy match that I've been looking forward to. Also, since I forgot to mention this match also comes from Fanfiction Fanatic, or if you're from Discord, you know him as Hardcore Jack. Now, for these two, I'm using a revamped version of both scripts. So for Auron, his research is coming from his fight with Sephiroth, and for Cloud, his research will be coming from his fight with Genesis. So with that said, let's start by comparing and contrasting these two physically. By the end of Final Fantasy X, Auron would be a 35-year-old man, standing around 5'9", well into his prime, with a thin yet muscular build. Out of all of the members of Yuna and Braska's pilgrimage, Auron is the strongest of the Guardians. He's capable of cutting through large vines with a few swings of his sword, and due to him being the Juggernaut of Braska and Yuna's pilgrimage, leads me to believe that he'll primarily focus on strength rather than speed. However, what he did have is durability, but we only have one good example of durability. After being severely wounded by Yunalesca, Auron crawled down a mountain all the way to Bevel before succumbing to his injury. However, Auron would only suffer one weakness, and that's speed, due to primarily focusing on upper body strength. Therefore, he wouldn't be as maneuverable such as Kamari, but that didn't stop him from being one of the greatest guardians that Spear has ever seen. Nonetheless, in terms of overall physical capabilities, Auron, to my knowledge, is one of the toughest combatants in Final Fantasy, second only to Sephiroth himself. By then, Final Fantasy VII, Cloud will be a 21-year-old man standing around 5'7" with a muscular build. After being enhanced by Genova cells, Cloud's physical performance was enhanced. In terms of strength, he is capable of using the bust sword at high speeds, which on its own requires a massive amount of strength to use. Cloud is also compared to Zack, who cuts through a metal door with a single swing of his sword. Speed-wise, Cloud wouldn't focus much in this area, but allowed his allies to pick up where he lagged. But again, he should at best compare to Zack, who can maneuver around bullets. As far as durability goes, Cloud has survived a fall from the plate to the slums. Even before being enhanced, he's been impaled by Sephiroth and still had the strength to overpower him. These two powerhouses are pretty much on par with each other physically. The main difference is that Auron is 14 years older and has 2 inches on Cloud. Now, is that a big factor? No, due to Cloud being enhanced and possibly the second most tanky character in Final Fantasy. However, Auron himself isn't exactly falling behind, since he does have a damn good amount of strength to throw and durability to back up. However, Auron's durability showing seems to be more magic based, while for Cloud, it's both. And in that case, I'll give the very slight edge to Cloud in terms of durability, due to the Shino combat robots having better weapons and armor compared to the Maquia. Overall, while Auron is not entirely outclassed, Cloud does have better strength, speed, and durability, and due to Auron not being very maneuverable, possibly being average in terms of speed, Cloud edges out in other categories, so I give Cloud the very slight edge in physical capabilities. Before going to these two, I'd like to make it clear that I'll be using their ultimate weapons. Now with that aside, let's begin. Auron's ultimate weapon is dubbed the Masamune. The Masamune is a greatsword, and after being enhanced by the Suncrest and the Marseille, the sword gains several abilities. The first gives Auron a break damage limit, being able to deal piercing damage. He can attack on the first turn. His overdrive mirror can power up faster, counterattack regular attacks, and as a side note, Auron's damage output will increase the lower his health is. Cloud's ultimate weapon is dubbed the Ultimate Weapon. The Ultimate Weapon is an enormous broadsword that boosts all of his stats by 100 and boosts his magic damage by 51%. However, the stats will begin to decrease the lower that Cloud's health is. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Both swords may be around similar lengths, but that's about it. Auron's Masamune has overall better abilities in every way, and to add insult to injury, Cloud's ultimate weapon powers down the lower his health becomes. In a nutshell, Auron's Masamune deals better damage, and for every time Cloud attacks, Auron can counter, and unlike Cloud, can deal out far more damage than he could ever dish out. And for final nail in the coffin, Auron's Masamune is a better version of the ultimate weapon, with the most standout being that Auron's damage output increases rapidly the lower his health becomes. So I give Auron the overwhelming edge in weapons. Auron has a plethora of abilities to debuff his opponent. Power Break lowers an opponent's attack, Armor Break lowers an opponent's defense, and Magic Break, of course, lowers an opponent's effectiveness in magic. His overdrive attacks consist of Dragon Fang that sends out a shockwave to attack all opponents. His Tornado creates a tornado that sucks up all opponents, which he can set on fire to deal more damage. Shooting Star strikes an opponent like a baseball, and Banishing Blade allows him to ignite his sword to deal out large amounts of damage to one opponent. Cloud, much like Zack, carried materia consisting of fire, ice, and lightning. His limit breakers consist of Braver that allows him to jump up before bringing his blade down on an opponent. Climb Hazard impales his opponent before bisecting them. Cross Slash delivers 8 powerful sword strikes that can stun an opponent. Meteor Rain calls down meteors onto his opponent. Blade Beam sends out a projectile slash that attacks all opponents. His finishing touch creates a vortex that sucks up all opponents. And lastly, Omni Slash delivers a total of 12 sword strikes, dealing out massive amounts of damage. Much like the last category, this is pretty clear cut. Auron has counters to Cloud's spells and limit breakers. He can debuff Cloud's strength, defense, and his effectiveness and magic. The limit breaks and overdrives are pretty much on par with each other, both specializing in firepower. So the question is, whose attacks can hit back harder? And despite Cloud being his team's offense, I just don't see Cloud being as big of a powerhouse like Auron. And the problem with this is that in order for Cloud to do any real damage to Auron, he has to get past his defense. A defense that will be damn near impossible to get past since Auron can simply power down Cloud. Power Break and Arm Break alone would be enough to put Cloud at a serious disadvantage, dropping him down to someone just below the Guardian himself. And when it comes to his overdrives, a well-timed one, whether it's his Tornado or Shooting Star, would be enough to take out the power down Cloud. So I give Auron the edge in magic and special abilities. Just like all combatants who use weapons, I'll be using Star Wars Lightsaber Fine Forms to better analyze and illustrate how combatant approaches combat. And with that said, let's continue. During his many years as Guardian, Auron will be a powerhouse. From his approach, he'll be proficient in Form 1 Shisho, Form 5 Genso, and Form 3 Surisu. Form 1 trains the user to use YC beam strikes to deal with groups of opponents, but a well-trained opponent can easily counter this form. Form 5 trains the user to block or parry before counterattacking with a devastating assault. Form 3 is taught to apply a solid defense to force an opponent to give into fear rage or until they become fatigued. As an overall combatant, Auron takes a straightforward power offense while having a solid defense. However, opponents who can apply such a high speed focused offense can pressure Auron enough to eat through his stamina. By the time of Final Fantasy VII, Cloud had absolutely no combat experience and took what he saw Zack perform and used that to get by, which would be Form 1 Shisho and Form 5 Shien/Genso. Shisho trains you to use wisely beam strikes to deal with groups of opponents. However, a well-trained opponent can easily get around this form. Form 5 trains you to dodge or parry before immediately counterattacking with devastating assault. As tactician, much like Zack, Cloud takes a straightforward power offense to apply overwhelming force to overpower his opponents, but either didn't have the time or take the time to seek out an opponent's weakness, and only relied on magic when he needed to make quick work of his opponents. Both combatants may use the same approach to combat, but one just is a bit more going at. Both use a straightforward power offense, but what Cloud lacks the most is proper Shinra soldier training. Just because he simply copies Zack's fighting style doesn't make him as good as Zack. And to add insult to injury, the same approach that Cloud takes combat is something that Auron can do just much more better. Auron is better at applying a solid defense and is capable of applying his magic better. The best I can give Cloud is that he is a more active combatant due to being so fast, but what you get here is an inexperienced swordsman in terms of Cloud, despite copying a well-trained member of Soldier whose own mentor has the GOAT himself, Sephiroth, as a training partner. However, on the flip side, you get a seasoned warrior with decades of proper experience and discipline under his belt, who's also the greatest guardian that Spear has ever seen. So I give Auron the edge in combat skills and tactics, as well as declare him the winner of this match. Let's just say this takes place during the events of Final Fantasy X as Auron wanders aimlessly around the island of Luca. He observes the Blitzball game, however a bright flash of light blinds him. When his vision clears, Lord Braska tells Auron that he must fight and defeat a warrior from another world. If he wins, then Sin will finally be defeated, once and for all, but if he loses, then he'll have to train to get stronger. Accepting his friend's challenge, Auron is teleported to Zanarkand on a platform. About a mere away, Cloud stands and draws his ultimate blade, as Auron does the same. The two rush each other trading blows. The Guardian is taken back by the opponent's strength, not expecting them to be this powerful. However, Auron goes on the defense. The ex-soldier, feeling confident, activates his Braver attack, to which Auron manages to stonewall, knocking Cloud back. The soldier rushes in again, who goes for another power blow, but this time Auron counters with his own power strike that staggers Cloud. Not missing a beat, the Guardian brings his blade down towards Cloud, who parries but still gets thrown back several feet. Since the Guardian struck him with armor break, Cloud lifts himself up and cycles through all of his materia spells, but just like before, Auron blocks each spell sent his way. The two re-engage with standard swordplay, but the soldier manages to land a few light slashes on Auron, but the Guardian's defense is too strong for Cloud to do any severe damage to Auron. As the soldier goes to activate Clamazard, Auron sends Cloud sliding back several feet, having hit him with Power Break. This time, Auron charges, but Cloud jumps over Auron, striking the Guardian with a combo of fast sweeping strikes. But the assault doesn't seem to faze Auron much, returning to standard swordplay. However, unlike before, Cloud is finding it difficult to dish out as much damage as he usually does, and his attacks don't seem to be putting a dent in Auron's defense. Seeing an opening, the soldier dodges a strike from Auron, once again getting in a combo of power strikes. Now seeing as now or never, Cloud activates Omi Slash. As the soldier closes the distance between he and the Guardian, at the last possible moment, Auron strikes Cloud with his Shooting Star strike that sends Cloud flying through a pillar onto a lower ledge. As a result of him winning, he's returned back to Luca, where the events play out as they did. And with that, I declare Auron, the legendary Guardian, the winner. Well, a part of me is a bit surprised. Sure, I knew going into this that even with his ultimate weapon, Cloud still couldn't win. But I was expecting Cloud to put up a better fight. However, that becomes a no point when you realize that Auron's fighting style is what Cloud could have been during the events of 7. Now, to make this clear, if I were to swap out Final Fantasy 7 Cloud with Advent Children Cloud, then Cloud would stand a better chance, since Cloud by that time fixed what Zack's fighting style lacked in. In that case, I'll say that Cloud would win about mid to high difficulty, but that really doesn't mean that the rest of the breakdown went about how expected to go. Yes, physically, Cloud is hitting back harder, faster, but Auron himself, much like Cloud, is a powerhouse of his party. Now, I'm not going to bore anyone here with their weapons or magic, because it's pretty much self-explanatory. So to save everyone's time, Auron is simply better in both departments, and combat skills is a bit of a toss-up. On paper, as I mentioned, Auron is what Cloud could have been, and throughout his years of Braska and Yuna's pilgrimage, Auron would have better experience as a combatant. But in all honesty, this is a fight that would end in a few minutes. Cloud simply doesn't have the magic, the firepower, or the swordsmanship to challenge the Guardian. But if you could think of ways that Cloud could win, or at bare minimum, challenge Auron, I'd like to hear it, because I spent days thinking about this, and the best way that he could win is when Auron was a much more younger man. But with that said, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter if you care about that. And now that my Season 2 is finally at close, be sure to check out King Cameron for his Season 1 of his verse series, as well Rain93 2, since his season is about to come to a close, and Brian at 3 Topics Gamer. Links will be in the description. And I'll see y'all in Season 3.
Tell me what happened.
Boy, you won't speak my name in vain again!
We end this now! I won't let you sully an innocent maiden's honor! Your fight is with me, damn it!
Upset about Irina? That she shared her favors with me? And now you intend to give me a proper thrashing for my impudence?
This time, Dio, you have gone too far!
You may be right, but you're the one who'll pay! Looking to repeat your performance from our boxing match? Be my guest. I'm to end this little pissing match. I'll beat him here, in his own home. Once and for all, he'll know his proper place in this world is under my heel. He'll see that it's useless to try and defeat me. I shall be master, now and always.
You dare to speak my name.